Hey everyone, and welcome back. I was gonna do a this day in history, but I decided that I'm gonna hold off on that today. I'm sorry I didn't make a video yesterday. Kind of ran into the same thing. Just was worn out and exhausted. But I did want to jump on here and talk about something that I feel might be of note. I am noticing a lot of political forecasters and articles being written and buzz about the fact that the Senate might now be in play for the Democrats, and this is a surprising development. The Republicans currently hold a 3 seat, uh, 4 seat majority in the Senate, and they are very possibly going to lose that majority in the upcoming election. They have a lot of endangered incumbents, even with the fact if you give them Alabama, which most people expect that Doug Jones will lose that race. The Democrats have a lot of pickup opportunities. They have a pickup opportunity in the state of North Carolina. They have a pickup opportunity in the state of Maine, Colorado, and Arizona, which would be a 50-50 Senate and would give the election, would the control would depend on the vice presidency. But the Democrats also have pickup opportunities that are arising in Kansas and in Montana. And this is assuming that they hold all the other seats that they currently hold. I tend to believe that this is a real possibility. In Kansas, there's Chris Kobach is running for the Republican nomination, and he is deeply unpopular and lost his race for governor against Democrat Laura Kelly in 2018. In Montana, the Democrats have recruited a solid candidate in the state's governor, Steve Bullock, who did not do well in his presidential run, but won re-election to his current position as governor in 2016 on the same night that Trump carried the state by 20%. So this is not a far-fetched reality. You could also say Kobach could pull off a victory in Kansas. Okay, well that gets you back 51-49. Say that Bullock goes down to defeat in Montana. Okay, well you got 50-50. You could pick up a seat in Iowa. The Joni Ernst is in trouble there. And you have the 2 Georgia seats. You have David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. And Kelly Loeffler is in real trouble. She might not even make it to the runoff. The special election there will be a jungle primary, and the top 2 vote getters, regardless of parties, will go on to the general election after that. And then you have David Perdue, who's going to face a strong challenge from Jon Ossoff, who, of course, lost the most important congressional special election in history, but George VI in 2007. But he raised an incredible amount of money in that race and very nearly won a seat that had long been held by Republicans and was, in fact, flipped by the Democrats in the general election in 2018. And was one of those first races where you really began to see in 2018 that Democrats were making inroads in strong Republican held areas. And I think that of the 2 Georgia races, the one that's most likely to flip is Ossoff. I think that Kelly Loeffler and Doug Collins will, one of them will be the next senator from the state of Georgia. I think that you could get a lot of people that will vote maybe for Ossoff that will vote for Loeffler, suburban females and suburban voters. I think that's a likelihood, but I do think Loeffler is in real danger of not making the runoff. This stock trading scandal has damaged her very badly. And it does not look like she's going to get the endorsement from President Trump. President Trump, though, may hold off and not endorse Doug Collins either. But that's going to be an interesting race to watch. So you have to keep your eye on that. But I think Purdue, if I was to say who I thought would lose in Georgia, if one of them was going to lose, I would say it would be Purdue, which is the regularly scheduled election for the full term. Back to some of these other races that I've discussed prior. In Arizona, Martha McSally is getting outraised by a tremendous amount by Mark Kelly, and is really far behind in the polls there, and it's looking like it's going to be an uphill battle. She lost to Kristen Sinema in 2018 and was appointed after John Kyle resigned at the end of 2018, and she is running for the seat that was held by Senator McCain to serve out the remaining 2 years on that term. And I just, it's going to be a really hard row to hoe for her, and I would be shocked if she won that race. Colorado, you've got the former governor John Hickenlooper running against Cory Gardner, and Cory Gardner is in a fight for his life in a state that is trending blue at a rapid pace, and that Donald Trump is deeply unpopular in, and Cory Gardner, of course, voted to acquit Donald Trump in his impeachment trial. You've got Maine, same story there. Susan Collins for years has tried to paint herself as a moderate, but voted for both Trump justices on the Supreme Court, voted for the tax bill that was deeply unpopular in Maine, and of course voted to acquit President Trump. She could claim, well, I voted for witnesses, but when at the end of the day she voted to acquit him. So you just get the sense that I think Susan Collins, while in the past she was very popular, is one of the most unpopular senators in the Senate. And in North Carolina, Tom Tillis is running against a candidate that's going to be well funded. And you also have to remember that in North Carolina, it's going to be a competitive race in the presidential election. And I kind of see this as a similarity to 2008 with this same Senate seat. Lizzie Dole ran against Kay Hagan, and Kay Hagan was lifted by the fact that Barack Obama carried the state, and that carried Kay Hagan into the Senate, and also the fact that Lizzie Dole thought that it was okay to run ads against a Sunday school teacher claiming she was an atheist. So I kind of see that they're probably going to make the same mistakes in this one. Also, Tom Tillis is going to be very easy to paint as wishy-washy. In 2019, at the start of it, he said that he would oppose Donald Trump declaring a national emergency to get his border funding. He would vote that this was wrong. Well, when it came time for the Senate to override President Trump's national emergency, Tom Tillis's butt fell in line and voted with the president. So that's just I think voters may forgive some things. I don't see them forgiving that, especially in a state like North Carolina, where you have a lot of higher educated people in the Research Triangle. You've got the growing influence of the Charlotte suburbs that are trending like all suburbs, bluer in the past few election cycles. So that's going to be hard. Then you have also this um, Texas, Kentucky, and South Carolina. Lindsey Graham is getting outraised at an amazing rate. Now, do I think Lindsey Graham is in danger of losing his seat? No, I don't think Jamie Harrison is going to win that race. But it's going to cause Republicans to pump money into South Carolina to get Lindsey across the finish line. That's going to deprive money from other states. You're also going to have Kentucky, where Democrats are going to dump money into a race against Mitch McConnell, and it's going to scare Mitch McConnell to death, and he's going to divert funds from a place like Colorado, Arizona, and Maine, and that's going to cause his house of cards to tumble and cost him the majority leadership. I believe that probably what will happen is either the Democrats have a 51-49 Senate or a 50-50 Senate in which the Republicans will control the Senate until January 20th, and after January 20th, the Democrats will control it by the tie-breaking vote of whoever Joe Biden chooses to be his vice president. And on the House side, I don't see Nancy Pelosi losing her speaker's gavel. Republicans have had a terrible time recruiting top-tier candidates. In some places, they are even in danger of not getting on the ballot in districts that the NRCC has marked as races they want to take. The NRCC right now is currently a disaster. Their campaigning is just juvenile and really should be cause for concern for anyone who writes a check to the NRCC. And Democrats are outraising their opponents at an astonishing rate. And in fact, Democrats in the frontline districts, there's not a single Republican who's outraised one of them. And even in districts that no one is thinking are competitive right now, Democrats are outraising people. And you also have to consider this, the Fox News factor. Fox News is going to put on whoever's running against AOC, Maxine Waters, and just other Ilhan Omar, and they're going to get money from Fox News viewers when they should be putting on Colin Allred's opponent, Representative Horn, Abigail Spanberg, places where Republicans actually have a chance to win, because Ilhan Omar is not going to lose. The only way she is going to be defeated is in a primary. The same with AOC, and the same with Maxine Waters. It's just not going to happen. They are going to win regardless. I will point back to Jesse Jackson Jr. He ran in a very safe Democratic seat and won re-election in 2012 from a mental institution. And it was no secret that he was in a mental institution. So, I see that this race is going to be, I know this term gets used a lot now in American politics, but this is going to be a true wave election. I think it's probably going to be worse than 2008 for the Republicans, and it's going to take them a lot longer to dig out of the hole than it did in 2008. In 2006, the Democrats took control of the Senate and House, but it was a very close election overall. 2008 was a blowout for Republicans. And of course, in 2010, those fortunes changed for Republicans and they took the majority. I don't see that happening again. So we shall see. I just thought I'd give y'all an update on my thoughts on the current state of the race.